So as I got up to go, and I looked down at his trousers, and there was a massive wet patch.
Hello and welcome back to Single Sounds. I am Katie Mack, the host and creator of the only podcast that helps you find a date based on personality first. This week's character is a true linguist, and he has multiple passports, which could come in handy. From theology to Victoria sponge cakes, he'll be sure to get you thinking with his opinions. He is looking for a monogamous relationship, and you can guarantee you will get honest feedback from him. Okay, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Very excited to be here today. Looking forward to it.
Good. Let's start with your who, what, where. So who are you sexually attracted to?
I'm sexually attracted to men.
Lovely. And what are you looking for?
So in terms of a man, so I'm 26 years old, and I've generally had crushes on people from my age to about 10 years older in the past. So that's probably the most likely sort of match for me. However, I would say like anyone, any age is welcome to apply.
Apply to you.
Apply to me. Yeah, and I guess like otherwise kind of intelligent, kind, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think most people probably say that.
Not everyone, to be fair. Do you have any height preferences?
I mean, I'm quite tall and think other people who are tall is nice. But again, I would say like that's not a deciding factor for me.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, and how about where? Sorry, we haven't done where.
Oh, where's important, yes. So I live in Sheffield, but I'm from London and I'm in London quite a lot. So basically for me, anywhere in London or anywhere up north, like I'm often in Sheffield, Manchester, Leeds. So yeah, my parents live in London and I come down at least once a month, but usually about twice a month or even more. So London works and I love traveling. I love seeing new bits of the UK and different parts of London. So I think, yeah, essentially, I know some people like say specific zones or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
open.
that picky. Yeah, and as I say, like if I travel for ages and then it's not a good date, I won't be like, oh god, that was a waste of time. I'll be like, at least I saw somewhere new and got to see new exciting places. So.
Yeah, I like that attitude. Like a new experience of location.
A new experience of location.
Even if the day was awful.
Even if the day isn't good. Absolutely. And hopefully going to somewhere nice, because that's a good thing to do on a date.
Okay. Tell me your 2 truths and a lie.
So my 2 truths and a lie. I can read and write in Tamil, which is a South Indian language. I have 2 passports. And it's my mother's 60th birthday tomorrow.
Tamil's an interesting one to pick. I feel like that struck me as true just because it was like a surprise factor of an interesting language to pick. I guess it could be another language, but yeah, I thought that one felt true to me. 2 passports, I've had that a few times. It's either been a lie or a truth, so it doesn't really help me. And your mum's 60th birthday, so you're the same age as me, and my parents are close to 60, but not super close. So I was trying to be like, well, does that work? I'm gonna go 2 passports is the lie.
Yeah, that one is always the one that I get caught out on. So I'm a really bad liar, basically.
No, that was really hard. I struggled. It could have been any of them.
Oh, I'm pleased. I'm pleased that I made you think. Yes, so I do read and write Tamil. I love learning languages, and I can speak. I'm part German, which is gonna come up in a second. I speak German and Spanish fluently, and I can speak a little bit of Hindi, and also my best friend is Tamil, so when I was at uni I learned to read and write Tamil just for the fun of it.
Wow.
So I can do that one. It is my mother's 60th birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday
tomorrow,
to her.
on the day of the recording. Yeah, thank you. And hopefully she's not embarrassed. I think she's very relaxed about her age, so she won't mind all the podcast listeners around the world. No. But yeah, so we're going to Israeli restaurant in town called Miznon, which is amazing. Like, I really recommend it, and it's brand new. It's
cool.
So good. Oh my god. The roasted cauliflower is heaven.
Where is that?
That's just south of Tottenham Court Road in Soho.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
nice and central.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to the theatre afterwards, so it's really close. And we're seeing As You Like It because my mum loves Shakespeare.
Oh,
so,
cute.
Yeah, so it's a proper family evening. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and of course the lie is I have 2 passports. I actually have 3 passports.
Oh, it's more.
So
The number ones, they're always key.
yeah, exactly. No, so yes, to keep hold of. Good to have that many, especially at this time of global uncertainty.
Yeah. So do you have a German one?
No, I don't have a German one
Okay.
because my mother, the same mother who's turning 60,
Just one mum.
she when she became British, she had to fill out a form to remain German, but she didn't know because it was the days before the internet and she was a bit disorganized. And hence I found out in 2016 that I wasn't German, which I thought I was all my life.
Oh, wow.
But luckily afterwards, I was going to get my passport at the embassy and they were like, "You're not German." I was like, oops.
Oh, no.
So I was fuming at my mum. But then I found out that through her father, I'm Swiss, and that through my dad's mother, I'm Austrian. So
you got those instead.
I got those instead. So it made up for it. But yeah, there was a while when I was really, really annoyed with her.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You're like, that's so surprising. Is Austria in the EU?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're still in there.
I'm
you're
still
fine.
in the EU, kind of, yeah. Although
Yeah.
for some reason I decided to stay here in the UK. I like the UK.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's good. Even if it seems to be falling apart, it's still a nice country with nice people.
You've got options
I
though,
have
just in
options,
case.
Just in case.
If it all goes to shit.
Absolutely.
Okay. Back to dating.
Yeah.
What is your worst dating story?
Oh, yeah. So my worst dating story is, well, when I was at university, I like to call this the story of the horny priest.
Oh my goodness.
So
Where is this going?
we'll find out. It didn't go very far. So basically, what happened was I went out. I think I met him through Hinge, or was Hinge a thing? Maybe Tinder. And I met this priest. We went out for drinks, and it was really nice. And then he was like, "Okay, like, why don't we do another date next time at my house?" And I was like, "Sure, sounds good." So we watched Star Wars Episode 4, the first one. So that's the only time I've watched Star Wars. That's not the reason it's the worst date.
Could have been.
It could have been. Yeah, I didn't watch any more after that. And then afterwards, like, we kissed. Clothes remained completely on, just want to add. But we kissed a little bit. And then shortly after that, I got up to go. It was kind of a gross kiss because he'd just been eating some, like, smelly crisps. And it was, it wasn't sort of
Not the best.
kissing experience. So as I got up to go, it's like, cool, see you again, maybe. And I looked down at his trousers and there was a massive wet patch.
Oh no. I had a feeling that might be. When you said clothes, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you see, that was great fun. So I was like, cool, I guess. I was like, yeah. And then I left, and then afterwards he sent me a text like, "Oh, that was a really nice date. I'm sorry if I got a little excited there." I was like, it's completely fine, but nice that I could have that effect on someone.
Yeah.
However, he did not have the same effect on me. And so I think after one more date, we called it quits. I called it quits.
Yeah, so you did give it another go, just in case.
Just in case. But yeah, I think that was really the moment when the magic died. If there was ever any magic, which there wasn't.
It's a really interesting combination, homosexual priest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was very liberal, and it's weird because they sort of have to pretend that they can marry in some denominations or have a partner, but they have to just pretend that they're not having sex. So they just pretend that it's a celibate marriage or something, even though everyone knows it isn't.
Interesting.
So it's pretty weird, but.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even know that it was allowed that they could be married in church's eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think it's on some of the more. He was an Anglican, so it's some of the more liberal Anglican churches allow it, is what I remember. But yeah, I don't think he was really considering it. But then he went to church and saw Jesus weeping, and that's why he became a priest.
Okay, this is a new question. I'm excited you picked it.
Oh,
I'm excited to hear what you're going to say. So, what is the best advice anyone has ever given you?
Yeah, so it's something that I've heard secondhand through my mum. It was something that was said at my brother's graduation. recently, which is a vision without action is just a dream, which I think is a pretty cool piece of advice. And it was said by like a leading young jazz musician who had overcome sort of all sorts of hardships essentially to become one of our foremost young jazz musicians in the UK, which is pretty cool. And I can't claim anything like that level of sort of, self drive and power, but I thought it was really cool advice because it's completely true that like if you want to achieve something, or you want to do something, want something to happen, you have to keep working at it. And if you just sort of say like, I want more friends or I want a partner, then you can't find these things by sitting at home. You have to go out and actually do things that will make them happen. And I think that's true across sort of life and work and everything. So that's why I find it really cool. And it turns out it's a Japanese proverb. But I wonder if it's like ikigai, which is like a thing that most Japanese people would not recognize as like. Oh yeah. I wonder if it's actually
They've
Japanese.
Just been translated wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, but either way, it's really good advice. So yeah, that's advice that I think I try and follow now. Like if you want something, you have to make it happen. Don't just sit back.
And what is your moan of the moment?
So my moan of the moment is to do with just the fact that we are constantly having strikes in this country, and I support the strikers, and I think that they need to be striking because especially the NHS but also in other fields their pay and conditions have got so much worse over the years. But what really annoys me is why do we have such a right-wing and sort of ideological government that isn't actually prepared to negotiate and realize that these people are, that they are hurting because they are effectively not earning what they used to in this age of high inflation, and that they have been worked really, really hard and essentially cannot really cope with it anymore. I just think that it just makes me so annoyed that the government really should be looking like, okay, maybe we need to pay these people more and maybe we should tax people a bit more to fund it. But it's not at all like that. It's like, oh, how can we sort of face down these striking workers and how can we make it more difficult for them to strike? Yeah, and obviously while this is happening, as we know, it's like sort of costing our economy so much money and making it so difficult for people to get around and for people to like access healthcare and stuff like that. So yeah, just essentially that we have a government that's more bent on, I think, on their ideology than sort of thinking about, firstly, maybe the strikers have a point, and secondly, the impact on people's lives.
Yeah, I've heard that they're trying to ban striking, aren't they? They're trying to petition for that.
Yeah, effectively, or like have minimum service levels of some kind, which means that, essentially your strike can no longer be effective because you have to have so many people manning the trains or so many people in the hospitals. Yeah. So it's effectively not banning it, but making it ineffective.
Yeah, so no one's going to bother because it's not having the impact they need to show the government that it needs to change, or whoever the private companies are for the trains, I guess.
Exactly. No, that makes me really, really annoyed. And yeah, I think it's just,
Should we move on to your most controversial opinion?
So my most controversial opinion is Victoria Sponge. What is the point of it?
The cake.
Yeah, the cake. Like, just why?
Just bland.
It's so bland. Like,
I do agree. It's not my favorite.
I'm pleased that you agree with my controversial opinion. I feel like there must be people out there who disagree because otherwise Victoria Sponges wouldn't be a thing. And I know that they're easy to make, but there's so many good things you can put in a cake, like apple or chocolate or banana. So why would you make a cake that's basically just like sweet and flour and butter? And I know there's jam in the middle, but like that just doesn't make up for the overall blandness.
But it's normally such a thin layer. Like it's not.
I know it's tiny, isn't it? Yeah. And cream as well, but the tiniest layer. And just like, why is this still a thing that people make and serve? And, why are we wasting our time with this?
People choose to buy it, yeah.
Yeah, why do people choose to buy it? So this is just one of those things I can't really understand, but I guess a lot of people love it. So,
What is your favourite cake?
My favourite cake is... there's a apple cake that I make, and it's a Jewish recipe, so it doesn't have butter because in Judaism you can't mix milk and meat, which is not something that I believe in. But you can't mix milk and meat, even like if you've had a meat main course, you can't have milk for dessert. So no dairy, no anything. So that's why you have to make a cake that doesn't have any butter in it, and you use oil instead, and it's really, really nice, and tons of cinnamon. So that's my favorite cake of all time.
Final question. What are your non-negotiables?
Oh, okay, yes. So I have one non-negotiable, one serious one, which is when I'm with someone, when we're exclusive, then we are exclusive. And I just say that because I was at an event recently and, I was just chatting to people and I met someone and I was like quickly like, oh my God, this guy's gorgeous. And then he was very quickly talking about his boyfriend. I was like, well, what a shame that he's taken. And then basically I don't ask that many questions, but because of other people asking lots of follow-up questions, it basically turned out that he was in an open relationship. And I was like, well, and then I was like, okay, actually, I'm not so like sad anymore, because even though that's great if that's what some people want to do, that's really not what I want.
Yeah.
And I think I would find it weird if I, did have someone who, I could sort of introduce to my parents and maybe like go abroad with or whatever. And they're also, seeing if I know it's
doing that with other people.
Yeah, doing that with other people. Like,
Yeah.
I think for me, that would just be, I would just get upset. And I think I really like the idea of essentially having like a proper, exclusive monogamous relationship with someone and us being completely committed to each other. So I think that's the one thing that I say, when it gets sort of far enough, when it gets to exclusive territory, it stays there.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, what will make me happier.
I agree. I've looked into polyamory a lot because it really intrigues me.
Yeah.
Because I, as a person, I think I do have quite a monogamous mindset. That's always what I felt I needed. Like my person, totally committed. I've always looked for that in a person. Like if someone can't commit or doesn't want to be exclusive in a few months, it's like red flags for me. I'm like, why don't you want to be with me?
Yeah.
And I always question, like, what is it about me that makes me have that mindset? And I can't tell if it's like genuinely that's what makes me happy, or if it's societal pressures that make me think that I should be in just like a monogamous relationship, and that's that. It's super interesting, and I really do take my hat off to people who are in open relationships and don't have, well, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do have all those feelings of jealousy and, I don't know, worry and
apparently
anxious.
Being in an open relationship is, statistically speaking, more likely to make you unhappy than being single. So
really,
yes, at least so I've read, and hope I will fact check that afterwards. Hopefully it's true. But essentially those kind of factors that you mentioned, like essentially being in a relationship with someone but having maybe some of those factors like potential jealousy, obviously always having one worry, like what if they find someone else kind of thing. I think that can be, obviously for some people it works really well, and that's great, and it means you can kind of get the best of both worlds. Like, you can see whoever you want, or you can sleep with whoever you want while still being in a relationship. But I think that essentially, for my mindset is also quite traditional. I don't know really why that is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a big part of it for me is my love language is quality time. And I know I'd be so upset if I came home and I wanted to share with my partner like what I've done that day, like talk about, just have an emotional bond with them over that evening and that quality time. And then they're sharing back to me this lovely day they've had with someone who's not me. I think I'd find that really difficult. I know some people have like rules around what they say to the other one, like what they talk about. But I'm such a big communicator as well. I think I'd really struggle. I'd want to know everything, but I also wouldn't want to know everything.
Exactly. I think I would be the same. I would want to know everything. And if there was stuff that I didn't want to know about, then I would be like, why is that? And is that really got a good basis for a relationship? Because I think I'm similar, that's what I really like to do, is like kind of at the end of the day be like, oh, how was your day? What
like
did
a
you
debrief,
do today? Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously spend the evening together, like, nice quality time. Like, if that whole question was coming into it, then I think I would be a bit
uneasy.
I would be a bit uneasy. Exactly.
I agree. I think it would make me anxious.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's time to find out what your friend said about why someone should date you.
Oh my God. I'm looking forward to this.
Are you?
I wonder what she's going to say.
You're not nervous?
I am looking forward, and I'm dreading in equal measure.
There are three main reasons why I think you should consider dating him. Number one is the fact that he can find you the best like transport deals. Need to get a train or a plane somewhere, your man, and you know, if you're dating someone, that's always useful. Like being able to go somewhere and have a nice time at the least expensive possible rate. He works in transport planning, and he's also just, really, really efficient about finding the best deals and the best routes to places. The second one is that is extremely philosophical, and so he understands, highbrow intellectual conversation, but it's always with a touch of humour. Back in the day, we did theology A-level together, so I know that is a fact. And so if you want someone who you can have interesting but really sarcastic conversations with about philosophy, religion, or anything like that, also your man. And finally, will be highly critical of you when it's necessary, so you can trust that what he says he means. And that's really important, because if he says you look good, you don't have to think that he's just saying it to garner sympathy. If he says your job application is good, again, he means it, because he would slate it if he thought otherwise. So that's everything.
I think that's all pretty accurate.
Yeah. I like the fact that when she said that you'd be really honest, I think that is a good quality. She's right. It's nice to know that, if, especially in a relationship, if you're saying to someone, look, what do you think about this? You do want the honest opinion, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe even 99.
Yeah, exactly. There are some times when you don't, but then I think it's also a skill to know when those times are.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think being essentially, and I think this is also to do with sort of being part German, that essentially
the bluntness comes
the bluntness does come in. And I think that essentially if you really, I think there's two things at play, and I think that's maybe what she's saying too, is that there's being honest and being mean. And I think especially if someone that you're in a relationship with, but with everyone, you want to think the best of them, and you want to try and see the positive side of people. But also at the same time, if, for example, someone has forgotten to put all the commas in their job application, then you
can point them out. Yeah.
You can point them out, exactly. I also really like to be sort of honest and, tell people the truth, because then, as my friend says, then when you are saying nice things, that's because they are actually true. And then people don't have to go oh, but did he actually
just saying
mean
that?
Is he just saying it? Does he want to be is he trying to be nice? But actually they can know no, he's trying to be nice, but it's also true.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's important. I also liked how she got in was it philosophy A-level?
Theology, yeah.
Theology.
Yeah. So that's how we met, actually. This friend, we did religious studies, theology. We did theology A-level back in the day, and we actually brought the same, it was the first class, and we'd been asked before we joined the sixth form to bring an article for the first class. Our teacher sent us an email, please bring an article in, something to do with the religious topic. And me and her were the only two people that brought in an article. And we brought in the same article.
No way.
So it was something from the FT Weekend magazine. Can't actually remember what it was about, but it was some article that was only vaguely to do with sort of religion and philosophy, but it was really interesting, and we both found it really thought-provoking. Yeah, that was the moment our friendship really took off.
Okay, let's do the final round, this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you two options. You just go with what you feel.
Yeah.
What you fancy? Are you decisive?
We're going to find out.
Okay. Would you rather never receive a gift ever again, or give all your family sex toys for one Christmas?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Go on.
Oh, I'd give all my family sex toys because they find it so funny.
Would they?
Yeah, because actually with so this is another German thing. If nothing else, hopefully everyone's learning a bit about German culture today.
Yeah. Love it.
It's very, very open about sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so
I love that.
In the small town near, not where my grandma lives, but a small town on the way to where she lives, there used to be a massive sex shop by the market for years.
Nice.
So
she's got loads, is that what
That's not where this is going, and I don't know what sex toys my grandma has.
But they'd find it funny.
But yeah, so basically I always joke with my well about like, when especially because I lived in Berlin for a bit, and she'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, oh yes, I'm at a sex party,
Oh, okay.
and and she'd be like, that's great, this is all very natural, like, I hope that you
Oh, wow. This super open conversation as well.
well, I wasn't actually going to any sex
No.
parties.
But I mean, like, if you did want to talk about it,
Oh
they'd
yeah,
be
absolutely.
happy to. They didn't just shut it down. I feel like so many parents in the UK would not even know what to reply to that. They'd probably just ignore it, not be like, oh, that's great, you're exploring these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point. If I had that, I think I would be more likely to be like reserved and have inhibitions about it. But I know, like, when I came out, my mom was like, yeah, I knew kind of already.
Yeah, I think that does happen sometimes with your immediate family, if you're
definitely,
close.
exactly. But yeah, I think they would be very relaxed about having a serious conversation about that kind of thing. But I think I would probably be less relaxed than them, actually.
Interesting.
My mum is the coolest mum, apparently. So
Yeah.
that's what like lots of people have said.
Yeah.
So
That's...
yeah, she would be very cool with it. And yeah, if I did buy them sex toys, then I think it would literally just go down as like a hilarious joke.
Awesome. Just put it in a stocking next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, more serious now. Would you rather never get angry or never be envious?
I'd definitely never be envious.
Yeah.
That's easy again. Sorry.
It's fine.
I'm finding these pretty easy to
Yeah,
do.
just decisive.
Because
you know what you want.
I am incredibly decisive. There you go. But the reason why is because if you're envious, it's like, it's obviously corrosive. And actually, I mean, sometimes it's good because being envious spurs you on to better yourself in a way, because you see like, oh, this person, so for example, I know like, one of my colleagues is going to go abroad for a year. And I'm like, why don't I get that? Why don't I want that?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing where actually that's making me think, okay, maybe I don't want to go abroad for a year just before I scare anyone off. But, but like, maybe I should do, sort of get onto projects where I can work abroad for a bit, maybe like go on a site visit, that kind of thing. So in that sense, a kind of envy can be constructive. But I think often like envy is not really a good reaction, because actually you should be happy for other successes if you can be. And then you should be like, okay, this is what they have. That sounds really cool. I want to have that too. So I think I could still have that if I wasn't envious, maybe. Yeah. So that's why I would choose not being envious. Whereas getting angry is important. It's important to be angry about all the rubbish that's happening in the world.
Yeah. And care about it. I see what you mean.
And care about it. Yeah. Because if you don't get angry, then you just be like, I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really mind. And I think that's actually bad, because anger also can lead to sort of positive action.
Would you rather have constantly dry eyes or a constantly runny nose?
So I would choose a runny nose, and that is because I hate like sticking stuff in my eyes. And I've never like I wear glasses, but I've never worn contact lenses for that reason, because I just find it too like. I mean, that's one reason. Also, because they can be expensive.
Yeah. You've got very nice glasses though, super stylish.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
but I guess
take note.
If you never take them off your face, they've got to be good.
Exactly. You have to invest a lot of time in choosing the right pair.
Would you rather swallow 5 live worms or 1 live cockroach?
I think for this one, the 5 live worms would probably be the better bet.
Yeah,
because they're not fun.
I agree.
But they can sort of go down your throat, and as assuming they're not sort of worms that settle in your stomach or whatever, it would be fine.
Okay, final one. Would you rather know the uncomfortable truth of the world or believe a comforting lie?
What do you think based on my previous sort of chat?
I feel like you'd rather know the uncomfortable truth of the world and do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be me, because I feel like if I was believing in a comforting lie, like obviously it would be nice and it would be easy, but what would be the point? Like, why would I want to sort of live in that dream world? Whereas I think if you know the uncomfortable truth, you can do 2 things. You can either be like, so what, like fuck it, like I'm going to enjoy life anyway. I'm going to enjoy like what I can given the uncomfortable truths I know about the world. Or, and maybe you do this at the same time, and that's what I'd want to do. I'd want to be like, okay, I'm going to enjoy my life. However, I'm going to work to make the world's truth slightly less uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that way it can make a difference. So that's what I would choose for that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a good answer. I agree with you know, how you were saying it's important to be angry, I also think it's important to learn things that aren't comfortable, because if they make you that uncomfortable, they're probably not right and will make a lot of others feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we get too used in a way to things that make us uncomfortable, but we don't do enough about them. And that includes me. I definitely feel like I could and should do more to change the world for the better.
That's the end of the podcast. You made it to the end.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on.
You're welcome. Do you have any final words? Any potential daters?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be late, like only a little bit late. But, you know, my punctuality, I have many German traits. Punctuality isn't one of them.
If you think you could be compatible with this character and would like to go on a date with them, or know someone else who would be a great match, please contact the podcast on Instagram @SingleSounds. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next Tuesday.